for Freeman, and it's incomplete. Or did he make the catch at the 15? Yes. What are they going to rule it? He caught it? Touchdown! He did what?
In the end zone, it is caught for the win! Richard Rodgers with a walk-off touchdown. Total disbelief at Ford Field.
Rushes on, has time. Looking, throws, middle, yes. Got it there! Breaking free to the 50. He may go all the way to the 20 down the right side. And there's Randall Cobb to the 5, to the end zone, to the touchdown. Oh my goodness!
Hey everybody, welcome to the Green and Golden Boys podcast, the Green Bay Packers podcast for fans living in enemy territory. I am Marcus, and with me is Charles.
Woo!
That is what I like to hear, my friend. It is divisional playoff time, which means the number 1 seeded Green Bay Packers will play their first playoff game of 2021, and they are facing the number 6 seeded LA Rams. I mean, by all accounts, this is going to be a tough matchup. I know their offense isn't hot as of late, and they've obviously got a quarterback controversy going on right now. And I say controversy, but really it's just which one is going to be less hurt to start. But by all accounts, again, the best defense in the NFL, points allowed and yards too, I believe. Let's talk a little bit about these two teams. Let's talk offense first. Obviously, we know a lot more about the Packers, but this Rams offense is okay. You know, they put up 23 points a game. They put up about 377 yards a game, which is actually better than the Packers this season. The Packers, much better on offense, scoring 31.8 points a game, best in the NFL, and putting up 389 yards a game. So actually a little bit better than the Rams. But what that tells me is if you're putting up 32 points a game and 380 yards of offense per game, that's efficient offense. That means you're scoring in the red zone. You're converting to touchdowns instead of leaving those points on the field and having to settle for field goals. And I think we've seen that all year. The Packers have pretty much the best red zone conversion rate in the NFL. They're super efficient. Aaron Rodgers is in year 2 of this offense, playing out of his mind, likely the MVP. What do you have to add?
Well, I have to add.
What do you think about that?
Oof, I don't know, man. I think you got to take a couple steps back, because I think we just got to just breathe in 1 second here and just really understand where we're at. We're in the number 1 seed. We got a warm-weathered dome team traveling to Green Bay in maybe a snowstorm. I don't know about you, but each day this morning I've been waking up to and playing Lil Wayne's remix of Green and Yellow, Green and Yellow. I mean, that's where I'm at right now. Sending trash talk to Rams fans. I only know 2 of them, and I'm trash talking them. That's where I'm at right now. I'm not ready to jump into the game quite yet.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about let's talk about the weather. Let's talk about the weather. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to be about 25 degrees at kickoff, so below freezing. Probably not any snow, but there's a possible chance of flurries during the game. Aaron Rodgers is 10-0 in games played below freezing at Lambeau Field.
Love it. Love that. Do we know what the wind's going to be like?
And I believe I don't know off the top of my head. I don't think it's supposed to be overly windy, so I think the passing attack should be okay for the most part.
Yep.
But I wanted to bring up that point to bring up this one too. I think Jared Goff is 0-2 in games in sub-freezing temperatures, and in those games he has thrown 5 interceptions and 0 touchdown passes.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, that goes back to...
But is he going to play? I don't know.
Yeah, and that goes back... I mean, even if he doesn't, right? I feel like anecdotally that goes back to a dome team coming up to this weather and, California team on top of that. Obviously every game is different and so on, and we hang our hat on that a lot. But, I mean, just go back to the Tennessee game and how the announcers just could not stop talking about Davante and his footwork. Dylan and his ability to power through and not slip on some of his cutbacks. I just think regardless of how sloppy or how windy it is, as long as that ball's not getting blown around too much, I just think huge advantage to the outdoor team. And then obviously, you laid out that stat 10-0 with Aaron. Huge advantage to the Packers with Aaron at the helm.
Yeah, and you mentioned Davante Adams. So let's talk a little bit about to counter that Jalen Ramsey on the other side of the ball. By all accounts, this is one of the most anticipated matchups from a wide receiver and cornerback perspective we've seen in a long time. Jalen Ramsey, arguably the best corner in the game. Jair Alexander may have something to say about that, but
yeah.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about.
I think Pro Football Focus has got him at like 3 or 4. Again, a top 5 corner. That's going to give us some problems, but it's. We can talk about that matchup specifically, but I think that conversation also has to lead to LaFleur and what that plan of attack is going to be. Right? Does Ramsey? Right. Is Ramsey on Davante and shadowing him? I actually don't know this. I'm asking you. Does Ramsey typically like one side of the field, like Jair Alexander typically plays one side of the field, or do they usually stick Ramsey on their the biggest tight end or the biggest wide receiver?
Yeah, he's usually on the right. As far as I understand, he's usually on the same side of the field as their number one target, but they do play some zone defense. Yep. So he's not going to be on Davante Adams on every play. So the Packers are going to have to mix it up with Davante and. Instead of having him, run all these routes on the outside, have him, kind of come in across the middle. I anticipate a lot of those throws from Aaron Rodgers right at the line of scrimmage to Davante right away. Get the ball out quick, get it to Davante, let him do, make some magic at the line of scrimmage for 5, 6, 7, 8 yards. And I think doing that also allows us to mitigate the risk of an Aaron Donald penetration up the middle.
Yep.
Because if Aaron Rodgers is able to get the ball out to Davante on the line of scrimmage, or throw the ball after 1 second to Aaron Jones in the backfield or Jamal Williams or something like that, or you've got a quick crosser to Robert Tonyan right across the middle after 1 or 2 seconds. I think that we're going to see a lot of that in this game. I think you're going to have to move Davante around, but I think we're going to have to see Aaron Rodgers play really quickly, get the ball out of his hand quick. Otherwise, you've got a possible Hall of Fame rusher up the middle in Aaron Donald, and a really, really strong outside linebacker in Leonard Floyd, who's had almost 11 sacks this year. So you've got a dynamic pass rush, but I think again the Packers have been so efficient this year because they've been able to move the ball or get the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hands quickly. They've been able to get the ground game going, which allows the play action game to get going, and I think that's what we're going to have to do on offense in order to kind of sort of keep the defense from the Rams in check.
Well, and hopefully too, just the third element to that hopefully is getting Tavon Austin moving pre-snap too, right? To just slow those pass rushers down just a half a step. Again, to give Aaron some time. Because here's my nightmare, right? I watched part of each game this past weekend, and the Rams the Rams Seahawks game was one of the sloppier games, right? So I think the nightmare for us is if we allow this game to turn into what the Tampa Bay game was for us, several months ago. I think this is going to have to be a game where, to your point, just to essentially repeat everything you just said, where we're getting the ball out quickly to Davante, putting the ball in our playmakers' hands, close to the line of scrimmage, and make him beat Ramsey or whoever it is that's guarding him in that first or second step, right? Same thing with Aaron Jones, giving him that ball early, obviously establishing the run early. But what I do not want to see is us giving Darnold an opportunity to pin his ears back and go after us. So, it's all cliche stuff, but I just feel like it's so important, especially early on, to just, get those 4, 5, 6 yards on first down. And if we're in 2nd and 5 or shorter, consistently in this game, like, good luck. I don't care what kind of defense you have. Aaron Rodgers is going to pick you apart.
Yeah, I would agree. I think getting those yards on first down is going to be really huge, and it opens up the playbook a lot. But I think it all is going to come down to getting that run game going right away and playing with a lead. Even though we went up, I think 10-0 against Tampa Bay, and they came back and destroyed us. I think that's going to be a big key in this game. If we can get going quickly, get a couple of quick scores. Maybe it's 14-0 after 8 minutes or something like that. Get a stop on defense. We're going to be able to dictate the tempo of the game because this isn't a great Rams offense. They had a really big performance last week by Cam Akers on the ground. I think if we can limit him, again, that's going to be, and make Jared Goff or John Wolford beat us. It's going to be a tough day for the Rams. And let's talk a little bit about Akers, because last week he kind of tore it up against Seattle. He had 131 yards on the ground and over 4.5 yards a carry, which is huge. So again, we're going to need some big time play from our guys on the defensive line, and I'm not too worried about our secondary or our linebacking core in this game. I think it's going to start up front on both offense and defense for us.
I agree with you on we definitely need to get ahead early. I think we're a dangerous team when we're up by a score and a half, right? 10 points or so. And I think we're a completely different offensive team. And we saw it in that Vikings game that we lost where we were trying to match their touchdowns. And we looked a little bit more desperate in that game. I know we're a different team from then. But again, to your point, we are a completely offensively different team when we're playing with a lead. And then, of course, to lead into what you were asking, defensively, we're of course a better team when we have that lead, because now we're forcing these guys not to run, right? Not to have their running backs have 4.5 yards per play, but forcing Goff or Wolford to throw the ball downfield. And that's a situation we want to be in, right? Making them have mistakes. So that being said, before we keep going down this path, and I've brought it up a few times and we've consistently disagreed, but since we basically just agreed on that point where we want to make sure we're ahead early, what is your opinion this week and this week alone on if we win the initial coin flip? Do you want the ball first, or do you want to defer and try and double up at the end of the half?
That's a great question. I think it's to my earlier point, to get up to a score quickly and get up on the Rams, you probably want the ball first. But I still say in this case you defer. See what the Rams can do on offense, and keep Aaron Donald on the sideline for a little bit. But yeah, I think you take I should say I think you defer. You let the Rams take the ball first, and you try to double up.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the opposite approach, just because for some reason I just feel like we're a completely different team when we're up a score. And there's something about watching the Packers go down, demoralizing a team, right? Whether it's a quick score, right? A deep throw to MVS, or just a march 8-play 9-minute march down the field, drive down the field, where I just feel like that next drive I'll guarantee it, you'll see whoever's playing quarterback, and I love the fact that we get to say whoever's playing quarterback, step back and try and be a hero right away. And that's exactly the position I want to put him in. But we will see. We will see.
Okay. Well, since we're talking about playing fast and getting up quickly, that's kind of my key to the game on offense. I think we need to play fast, get up to a lead, and kind of dictate the tempo. And then again, I think that starts with the run blocking and the running game up front. Again, it opens up the play action game. If we can get to the outside, it kind of takes Aaron Donald away. Get the ball quick, Aaron Rodgers. Get it to Davante on the line of scrimmage, or quick slant to Tunyon or Aaron Jones in the flat, whatever it is. Just move it quickly, and obviously we're going to be missing some guys on the O line, so we need to just kind of shore that up and stuff like that. So, what about you? What's the key on offense in your opinion?
Key on offense is our our offensive line, right? I mean, we've been saying it all year, even before Bakhtiari was out for the rest of the season, and now it's even more important, right? Regardless of our overall approach or philosophy to the game, those guys are going to be huge. Stopping Aaron Donald, which of course is going to be its own challenge, but then also giving lanes to Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams, and hopefully Dylan as well. But I think offensive line, no matter how you shape it, how you do it, that's going to be the key. I don't want to see Aaron Rodgers sacked at all, of course. But again, if we let it get to, I think it was 5